What's going on, everybody? Ryan the Mighty Quinn here, the cornerman underscore MMA. Before we get into today's video, check out MMABetClub.com. Everybody over there, thank you for this shirt. If you want to check out UFC betting patterns, if you want to keep on top of your stats, that is the place to go. I'm in multiple groups with friends of mine, almost like a fantasy football group, so to speak. Keep on track of your stats, your winning percentage, as well as your return on investment. Very good at one, not the other. You're going to have to check it out to see which one that is. So, all right. So, a couple fight announcements at the UFC have taken place or come to fruition. Got me thinking, one being with Jorge Masvidal and Gilbert Burns. And for those of you who've been following my videos, Jorge's a good friend of mine. I've been training with him, or I've known him probably 14 years, 15 years, training with him solid for probably about 11, 12, over 12 years. And probably logged over 100 sparring rounds with Jorge. So I guess for those of you who are pro wrestling fans, this would be like a shoot interview, just talk about training with George, what it's like and everything like that. A lot of people, the beauty about what everything's going on with George and his drawing right now is it's just, this is the George with the volume turned way up. Very organic person, doesn't change for nothing. Sometimes just doesn't know when to shut up. I can attest to that. If you see in my previous interview with him, he is what's the way to put it? I always said he's like the Deadpool of mixed martial arts. Completely lethal, but doesn't know when to shut his mouth. Always just says the wrong thing. That's George. So I guess we start every story at the beginning. So when I first met George, we were training. I was training for my first fight with Bellator. I wasn't living down at American Top Team full time, and he was fighting in Japan. He wasn't with Bellator. I think he was in and out with Bellator. He had not been with Strikeforce yet, so I wasn't sure if it was with Sengoku. I don't remember who he was fighting. It might have been even Pancrase, but either way, he was in Japan. So we're sparring, and I remember this week, two things happened this week. It was when I was first starting to come down to American Top Team, and there were in two instances in my career where I questioned if I had what it took to be a professional mixed martial artist. They both happened this week. The first being I was wrestling with Tyron Woodley, and I hit a clean double leg, and he exploded back up, and I got no points for it. I remember being like, damn, if this is at the time, he wasn't the T Wood he was the T Wood that I knew he was. He wasn't the T Wood that the world knew he was. But I was like, damn, if this is what it's like, I'm not sure if I have what it takes to cut it, because that was everything I took to get this dude with a double leg, and I didn't finish. And then a few days later, I'm sparring with Jorge, and I got hit with a famous 3-piece in the soda. And I remember thinking, wow, he hit me so hard and so fast with so many punches. I'm way too slow. Maybe I just don't have what it takes. But everything worked out for me, obviously, but just one of those moments, But from training with George, we complimented each other a lot. Like I was good at the wrestling, and he was good at everything else, and I wasn't. So we hit it off really well. We had a lot of interest with comic books, a lot of just doofy stuff that we always talked about, always joked about. Very good relationship. He always knew when to bust my balls and make it fun when I needed it, and I needed that in practice. Sometimes I didn't know how to have fun in training, and George was very good at picking that up for me. And but either way, I just remember when I think of training with George, I just think of hey, how much he loves fighting. He absolutely loves fighting. It's just like, obviously, everyone knows he started training. He started fighting in the backyards of Miami, which is pretty big in the culture down there. And he worked his way in because he was I'm still with the same boxing coach, and found mixed martial arts gym, moved on up to American Top Team. He loves fighting, and if you beat him with something at any aspect, grappling, wrestling, striking, he's going to study that, and he's going to learn it because he wants to beat you with it the next sparring session. Like, that's just how George is. He loves competing. He loves fighting. um, and I always found that really, I found that really inspiring. Really, I found that really cool, and that he really loves that challenge too. He just loves being challenged with fights, and so we started training some wrestling. Earlier on, at American Top Team. Now, this is going back 10, 12 years. There's only so many of us that were really true wrestlers, wrestled Division One level. And George is one of the people. Like a lot of fighters early on, not just American Top Team. This is everywhere. They really shied away from wrestling because wrestling's so hard. George was not one of those fighters. He loved wrestling. He wanted to get it down. He loved amateur wrestling. Was a huge fan of it. So I would drill with George, before training sessions and stuff like that, before even the wrestling sessions, and we just hit it off. We just developed that mutual respect, turned into a friendship, and on top of him being on top of him just loving fighting, just how good he was everywhere. It was really amazing. Just and like just the natural. He had the three tools of striking when it comes to mixed martial arts. He had the boxing, the kickboxing, and the Muay Thai. Or he has, sorry. Like he could really just switch it all up on you. So explosive. And people with that build usually don't have that explosiveness. He's got it, and he's got speed, and just his willingness to work at things he was not good at. Like wrestling is, wrestling was probably one of the weaker points of his game. Definitely not anymore, but he was just so willing to work at it. Just wanted to get better at it. I always say I wish he would do offensive wrestling more in his fights because he actually has a pretty good blast double, pretty good high crotch, pretty good single leg. But he's a striker. Let's face it. So. But he's just his willingness to get in there and get that down, and his ability to just hustle and work hard at areas that he's not good at, like it's just really inspiring. He was an immediate alpha male in the training room, and even in grappling, he never put the gi on. He's not going to put the gi on, but he's really good at. He knows what he's good at. He's got a great dart stroke, and he just knows how to just avoid it, to get back to drilling and just trying to find ways to just avoid this so I could beat you up with that. Like that's what he would do on the ground in the cage wrestling, just drilling like snap downs to knees and stuff like that. And on top of that, with everything else, he's one person that, just a comrade, like just he's been there's been instances that I'm not going to share on here. I try to keep the gym politics off this, but he had my back when I didn't even know he was watching, and I can't thank him enough for that. Whenever I needed a training partner, he was always there. He was always a text away, and I love it. I'm going to text him, letting him know about this Gilbert fight. Gilbert's somebody I could probably emulate, that I'm available because I want to be there for my boy. So anyway, I think we're going to have more of these going forward. Please like, subscribe, and share about training partners I had at American Top Team or up in New England, New York. And those are always fun to talk about. Anyway, let me know what you think. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.